Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back in today with another fantasy football video. Today's video is Week 7 waiver wire ads. Now, before I get into the video, I'd like to give you guys a word from my sponsor, OverlayDFS.com. They're a great website. I play on it every single week, and I think that you guys should come join me. So I'm going to play the role now. Are you tired of having to pick the perfect player at every single position in order to win on salary cap DFS? Are you tired of having your salary cap lineup out of the running to win that money in the first 5 minutes of the games? Does playing salary cap DFS feel like a job and not even a game? Want a fantasy game where pros with 150 lineups and computer generated programs can't dominate? OverlayDFS.com has a new revolutionary start sit game for fantasy sports. They're the home of the single entry GPP. How do you play? Like I said, it's a simple start sit format. You make 12 start sit decisions from the 30 plus matchups presented, like you can see on my screen right now for week 6. A win, loss, or tie will be awarded to your overall record for each decision you make. Records in the top 10% of users win 9 times your buy-in. 12-0 records win GTD progressive bonus. All matchups are player versus player who will have the most total fantasy points. Usually 8-4 records are good enough to get that cash. Sometimes 7-5, other times 9-3, depending on the week. You make 12 picks in the matchups options listed. For example, for week 6, it could be Pat Mahomes versus Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield versus Andy Dalton, Dalvin Cook versus Alvin Kamara, and many, many more. The object is to stay consistent and finish in the top 10% of the field to win 9 times your buy-in until the stars align and you go that beautiful 12-0. Right now, if you go a perfect 12-0 in the $109 game, you'll win the progressive bonus of over $26,000. They have buy-ins at all levels. If no one hits the perfect 12-0 record of the progressive bonus, keeps growing and growing and growing until it gets hit. It's like the super contest, but for DFS. Don't get shut out. Visit www.overlaydfs.com today. And we are back, Week 7 waiver wire ads. Now, I'd also like to let you guys know that this is being recorded on Monday night, so if anything happened in the Monday night games and there was an injury, obviously I'll leave it down below in the description if there's anyone else new that I would add to this video. So Week 7 waiver wire ads, let's get into it. So the first ad here is the wide receivers here. First couple of guys are wide receivers. John Brown is my number one wide receiver, 42.1% ownership on NFL.com. He's the Buffalo Bills wide out. Now, he's been great, I should say, not great, with or without Mr. Joshy Allen. Week 1 against the Jets, 7 of 10 for 123 yards for 1 tutty and 25.3 PPR points. Week 2 against the Giants, 7 of 8 for 72 yards, 14.2 PPR points. Week 3 against the Bengals, 4 of 5 for 51 yards, 9.5 PPR points. Week 4 against the Patriots, 5 of 11 for 69 yards, 11.9 PPR points. And Week 5 against the Tennessee Titans, 5 of 5 for 75 yards and 12.5 PPR points. Now, obviously, Josh Allen is back, and last year we saw Josh Allen be able to sustain a wide receiver 2-ish type of player. His wide receiver 1 is going to be someone that you can easily start as your wide receiver 2 or flex in fantasy football. Last year was Robert Foster. This year it is clearly John Brown. John Brown is clearly Mr. Josh Allen's favorite target, and I think that every single week that Josh Allen is healthy and John Brown are healthy, they're going to find that connection to be well worth picking up in fantasy football, well worth even a start next week, or this week, I should say. The next ad is Robbie Anderson, New York Football Jets wide receiver, 46.5% ownership on NFL.com. Now, he has not been very productive until week 6. Obviously, had that bye week 4, but last week against the Dallas Cowboys, 5 of 8 for 125 yards and 1 touchdown. 92 of those yards were all from 1 catch, but what that shows me is that he is going to be looking down the field. Sam Darnold is going to be looking down the field for Robbie Anderson, 23.5 PPR points. He also got 8 targets in the game, so that obviously shows that he likes targeting Robbie Anderson a decent amount. Now, with the return of Sam Darnold, he should be producing week in and week out. In my opinion, this is not a fluke. This is not something that is just a one-week occurrence. I could see Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson putting up these kind of numbers every single week. Next wide receiver here is another wide receiver of the New York Football Jets, and that is famous Jamison Crowder, 20.5% ownership on NFL.com. Now, he's had 2 huge performances when Sam Darnold was the starting quarterback. Now, when it was Luke Falk, he was god-awful, didn't really do anything, but that's just because Sam Darnold clearly likes him and may even like him more than Robbie Anderson. Week 1 against Buffalo, 14 receptions on 17 targets for 99 yards, 24.3 PPR points. You heard that correct. 17 targets. He threw the ball 17 times to Jamison Crowder. That is almost 2 times more than week 6 against Dallas. 6 receptions on 9 targets for 98 yards, 15.8 PPR points. Even 9 targets is a lot for a wide receiver. I think that Jamison Crowder is going to be in for a huge amount of targets every single game from Sam Darnold. Next wide receiver ad here is Mr. Auden Tate of the Cincinnati Bengals. He's owned in 2.6% on NFL.com. Now, he's been an ad for the past couple of weeks in my waiver wire videos because of how good he has been. Likely no AJ Green this week, may even get traded once he comes back and is healthy. And John Ross will be out for a while. So it's really going to be the Auden Tate and Tyler Boyd show. But we saw last week it was really just the Auden Tate show. Tyler Boyd not very heavily involved. He has had 4 good games in a row now. Week 3 against the Buffalo Bills, 6 for 10, or 6 of 10, I should say, and 88 yards, 12.8 PPR points. Week 4, 4 receptions on 6 targets and 50 yards, 9 PPR points. Week 5 against the Arizona Cardinals, 3 receptions on 6 targets and 26 yards with a touchdown. 11.6 PPR points. And week 6 against the Baltimore Ravens, 5 receptions on 12 targets and 91 yards for 14.1 PPR points. So clearly, he's a guy that Mr. Andy Dalton targets near the end zone because he has a touchdown. He's also a guy that Andy Dalton targets going up the field. Now, he's not getting all these amazing targets because going 5 for 12 isn't the best, but then again, the ball is not being thrown close to him a lot of these times. But Auden Tate is going to perform every single week and be a solid flex option for your team. Now, on to the running backs. The number 1 running back ad this week for me is Mr. Devin Singletary. Buffalo Bills running back, 46.8% ownership percentage on NFL.com. Now, he is questionable for week 7. I'm not necessarily sure he will return this week. Even if it's not this week, in my opinion, he is still worth a stash. He played well when healthy, wasn't given too many attempts, but it seems like they're going to work him more into the game. But then he ended up getting hurt. Week 1 against the New York Football Jets, 4 attempts for 70 yards, as well as 5 receptions for 28 yards, 14.8 PPR points. Week 2 against the Giants, 6 attempts for 57 yards and 1 touchdown, 11.7 PPR points. So I think once Devin Singletary returns, he's going to be a hot waiver ad. So even if he doesn't return this week, make sure to stash him now. Make sure to get him on your bench before it is too late and you cannot even get him. Next guy to talk about here is Chase Edmonds, running back of the Arizona Cardinals. 9.3% ownership percentage on NFL.com. Obviously, the ownership percentage is going to be different in every single league and every single different fucking type of format, or not format, yeah, every type of format, every type of website. So make sure you check it out. Obviously, not every single guy in this video is going to be available in your league. So, while David Johnson is banged up, he has start-worthy value. I didn't believe it this week, but it is definitely true. David Johnson clearly was dealing with that back injury. David Johnson even played well, but so did Chase Edmonds. Past 2 weeks has had good production. Week 5 against the Cincinnati Bengals, 8 attempts on 68 yards for 1 touchdown, as well as 3 receptions for 18 yards, which is a grand total of 17.6 PPR points. Now, week 6 against the Atlanta Falcons. 5 attempts for 34 yards and 2 receptions for 33 yards and 1 touchdown, 14.7 PPR points. Now, next week, they are playing up against the New York Football Giants. If David Johnson is still banged up, you need to have him on your roster. He will be start worthy against the Giants. And if you have David Johnson, he's 100% guy you need to have on your lineup or in your bench just to stash in case Mr. David Johnson is to go down and be out for a while. Next running back here is Malcolm Brown, LA Rams running back, 37.7% ownership on NFL.com. Now, if Gurley is out again week 7, Brown could be in for a much better game against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, he did not play well against the 49ers week 6, but neither did anyone on that team. It seems like none of the 49ers, or none of the Rams, were performing. Robert Woods ended up scoring a touchdown, but Cooks, Kupp, Goff, Brown, and Henderson all did not perform. I think next week it could be a lot different. I think the 49ers defense is clearly very good, but I think he will be in for much better times in the future given Todd Gurley is not healthy. Now, if Todd Gurley's healthy, obviously, then starting him is going to be something that is going to be near impossible. This week they have the Falcons, so I believe that he would be in for a pretty good game given Gurley is out. Next, we're going to talk about the tight ends. Hunter Henry is obviously the number 1 tight end ad, not available in a lot of leagues. LA Chargers tight end, 47.7% ownership on NFL.com. He seems to be heavily involved in the offense on his return week 6 against Pittsburgh. 8 receptions on 9 targets for 100 yards and 2 tutties for 30 PPR points. That is a whole lot of points on a return for a guy I wasn't even sure would be 100% healthy. He seemed to be very involved in the offense. It seemed like when they were down, they were targeting Hunter Henry. Even when they were at the beginning of the game, when it seemed a lot closer, they were still targeting Hunter Henry. I think he's going to be a solid start every single week, given he is healthy. Final wide receiver, or final ad of this week that at the tight end position is Chris Herndon, New York Football Jets tight end, 7.4% ownership on NFL.com. Now, he returned to the active roster this week. In my opinion, he should be good to go week 7. He developed a good connection with Darnold last year, and I think that a lot of people are in a shitty predicament given that Disley got hurt with the torn Achilles, probably out for the season. Chris Herndon may be their saving grace. So thank you guys all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video as a whole. It was pretty fun to make. Hopefully you guys got anything from this video. If you have any other questions, leave some questions down below in the comment section. Now, there are other running backs to talk about, guys like Ito Smith, guys like Rock Armstead, just guys that are pretty much handcuffs. If you got any questions about handcuffs, leave it down below in the description. Hopefully you guys had a great day. Make sure to click that subscribe button down below if you have enjoyed. Make sure to check out overlaydfs.com, link below down in the description. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys so much for the amount of subscribers I've been getting. I believe we are now at 2,300 subscribers. We're going to head for 2,400. Then we're going to hit 3,000. And then we're going to hit the goddamn moon. I love you all. It really does mean a lot to me. Have a great rest of your guys' day. Goodbye.